They say the heart of rock and roll is still beating, and from what I've seen, I believe them. Now the old boy may be barely breathing, but the heart of rock and roll still beating.
Let's jump in and talk about the idea for the Heart of Rock and Roll. Where did it come from?
Well, actually, it's my neighbor's son-in-law. It works for Imagine Entertainment, and my neighbor is a big musical theater buff, and we were over there for dinner, and he said to his son-in-law, "You should do a musical on Huey's music." And so he said, "That's a good idea. What do you think, Huey?" I said, "Well, the proof's in the pudding. You need a script." So they went away with his pal John Abrams, Tyler Mitchell, and they wrote the first draft, and it was actually very good.
Talk a little bit about that. What is it about?
It's really a love story, but it's about a kid who's in a rock band and can't make it for some reason. They can't get signed. So he quits, frustration, gets a straight job as for a corrugated company, goes from a rock star to a box star. And then he falls in love with the boss's daughter, and he's kind of moving up the company, and then simultaneously, his old band gets the break they've been looking for. They get the tour and they got an album deal. So they go to him and they say, "Hey, come on, this is our dream. You want to do this?" And he goes, "Yeah." That's the first act. In the second act, he tries to do both things. And it gets a little squirrely, and I won't tell you the ending,
Okay.
but that's kind of what it's about.
They say the heart of rock and roll is still beating, and from what I've seen, I believe them.
Is there any of you in this musical, a part of your story?
Well, all of our music, all the music is Huey Lewis and his music, but no, it's an original. It's not about me. There's some stuff because all the music is ours, so there's a certain personality to that I think that Bobby and Cassandra sort of adhere to, but it's not at all about us, no.
You're a slacker, McFly.
I saw you on stage with Back to the Future talking about, giving due to the actors that were up there and how they're triple threats and, what they do each and every night.
Yeah.
What does musical theater mean to you?
Well, I always say that because it's the most demanding, I think it's the most rewarding form of artistic expression. I really don't think there's anything like live musical theater. I really think it's so rewarding for performers and the audience. It's just wonderful. I love it.
So for you to be such a part of this now, I know you said that musical theater has been your salvation in so many ways in the past several years. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, I lost my hearing. I lost my right ear 35 years ago. I have a thing called Meniere's disease that they don't really understand, and my hearing's affected rather seriously. I lost my left ear like 6 years ago, and now I can't hear music. I can't hear pitch. I can't perform or any of that stuff. So that was a very depressing 6 months. I pretty much laid in bed. But you gotta get up. Certainly, you gotta get on with things. And this musical has been a salvation for me in terms of creativity. And the Zen Buddhists say you need three things in life: something to love, something to hope for, and something to do. And I think that's really true. And the hope for and to do are really this musical.
I want a new drug, one that won't make me sick, one that won't make me crash my car and make me feel freak.
I'm one that grew up with your music and MTV days, and here, you were on all the time in the videos and singing along in high school and college. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people with a lot of memories, but also to see the generations that have followed that's got to be pretty special.
Yeah, and it's set in the 80s, the show, and it's remarkable how different the 80s were than now. I mean, when you think about it, we had no internet, you had no cell phones, and it was an audio world. And so music was a much larger part of our lives. You think about early 80s, there were no jam bands, there was no internet, there was only one avenue to success if you were a musician and wanted to play your own music, and that was a hit record.
Cause she's hot and soul. She's hot and cold. She's got it all.
when you go back at that time and look at it and think of, you know, what that took. Do you remember when your first hit record, where you were, how you? I mean,
Oh yeah.
Was it the
Well,
surprise?
that was it was a big deal because we knew we needed a hit or we couldn't exist, and so we produced the record ourselves. This is our sports record because I knew we'd have to make commercial choices, and I wanted those choices to be ours. Since we produced the record, my theory was we'll do the best 8 songs we can write and the best 2 we can find. And I called Mutt Lange and said, Mutt, you got any songs for us? And he sent me We Both Believe in Love, which I rewrote and was our first hit.